Batman has had a colorful history on the big screen. With 13 films over about the space of 50 years, the quality of these films has ranged from arguably the best superhero film ever made to what the heck am I watching?
Come on, sing! Louder, come on, sing!
Along with the quality, the direction and portrayal has also ranged from sarcastic wisecrack George Clooney to more dark and somber versions such as Christian Bale or Ben Affleck. Say what you will about any of these movies, but there's an undeniable worth to the character of Batman. Year after year, we have seen some sort of news on an upcoming movie or take on The Dark Knight. One of the main reasons I think this character keeps popping up or being revived is that this character is special. Batman has a unique heroism formed from a tragic experience that, no matter how it's conveyed, usually makes for a pretty entertaining story. But that's not to say some aren't better than others. So, with my hopefully adequate knowledge of Batman, and what I like to think is a good understanding of film and storytelling, that's what I'd like to talk about in this video. Not an in-depth ranking of every Batman movie ever made, no, I'd like to specifically look at Matt Reeves' upcoming The Batman. How it seems it's going to be handling character, how it's different from previous portrayals, and whether or not it could be good. But before I do, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, leave a like, or whatever you can do to help get this channel get grown a bit. The first thing I want to go over is how to portray Batman as a character. Not necessarily who you choose to play him, but also things like appearance and personality. To see what makes for a good appearance in a Batman film, we can look at past adaptations. How Batman's suit looks is very important, probably because he's like any other superhero, in which part of the wide appeal is due to how cool they look. In the past, we have pretty much seen everything from spandex jumpsuits to covered in half a ton of steel. My personal favorite is Christopher Nolan's realistic approach, in which we see Batman use a reasonably armored suit with reality-grounded gadgets and tools. Though there isn't much footage seen of the full Batman suit, it seems Reeves has taken a similar approach in a rough, armored look. I personally think it looks really good. But when it comes to what's under the cowl, I think that's really where Reeves' adaptation shines. This version of Bruce Wayne and this whole trailer oozed darkness and uneasiness. We have seen versions before when we get to see the emotional pain Bruce feels, like in the Nolan trilogy, but this seems to be much darker than that. One of the few shots we get to see of Bruce's face shows him with dark paint still on his eyes, hair messy and pale. This, accompanied by the short sequence we see when Bruce is at some sort of memorial, also really seems to emphasize that Bruce is going to be disturbingly tormented by the Riddler. Speaking of which, the Riddler is also another interesting part of this film. I think the villain is just as important as the hero in these types of movies. If it's not an origin story, then an opposing, complex, and well-developed villain is a key part in how good the film will be. That's what made The Dark Knight so great. Though the Riddler is covered up in the trailer, I think Paul Dano is going to bring a great performance. The last thing I'd like to talk about is what makes for a good story and narrative in a Batman film. One thing that seemed to be hinted at in the trailer is the emphasis on Batman's detective roots. I really hope this aspect of Batman makes it into the final film, as one thing often overlooked is that this character's first appearance was in his comic series, Detective Comics. Noir is a very specific genre, not often used today, which consists of story types such as crime solving or criminal investigation. I think the Batman would make for an excellent protagonist in a neo-noir film, especially since we haven't seen this in any other Batman film or any other superhero film for that matter. This detective aspect, plus this ultra-dark, gloomy, gritty tone that was previewed in the trailer, seems like this is going to be a fresh, compelling new look on the Batman. Thanks for watching. That's all for this video. Thank you for those who made it this far. Hopefully you learned something. As I always say, this channel is just to explore my thoughts on film while attempting to teach others. Thanks for watching.